Okay people, this is my episode 4 of my ML7 restoration. I've got here the top slide of the ML7 and the various components that it contains. Right, what can I say about this? Well, basically it's fucked. Pardon my French. Well, that's a bit strong, I suppose. I'm a little bit disappointed in the state of the lathe in general, now that I've started having a more closer look at the components. The top slide here would be assembled in, well, the order I'm laying it out in at the moment. Now, by the manual, there is a what they call or refer to as a hard washer, which, you know, well, this is just a stainless washer. Oops, there we go. But then at the back there should be a fibre washer, so it would be mounted like that onto the end of the top slide. So I'm not worried about a washer, yeah. However, the feed screw, it's actually, well, it's not too bad to be honest with you. You know, I'll try and get some daylight on it here for you. Hopefully this camera will be much better in low light conditions, because my Digicam has finally given up the ghost, and this is actually a friend's camera which I have borrowed, just a little wee Fujifilm Finepix A900, and I'm just basically filling up their SIM card because it's only meant to be taking photos, but it does have a video function obviously. Unfortunately with this this feed screw, there is a slight bend in the end of her. I think she's bent about where my thumb is roughly. So I may or may not replace it. I may just try to straighten it, but if you're going to do any fine work at all, that'll be, you know, detrimental to any your results. So yeah, there's no way that's worth 35 quid though. I've priced them online, and one guy's just trying to take the eyes out of people by charging extortionate amounts for simple little components. One thing I've come to realise is that the dial gauge, which would normally be in this part, there would be a nut and a dial gauge, that is, well, gone. It's missing. I believe people are wanting £25 just for that gauge alone, which I'm not prepared to pay, and I believe this is why it's never been replaced, because they're asking too much for it. Now, the underside of the carriage, if you like, or the top slide, she sustained a little bit of damage. There's a small chip in this corner here. I'll just try and hold it steady so you can maybe see it. This video seems to be a little bit blurry on the viewfinder. I don't know if it's coming through in the actual picture there, but yeah, there's certainly a little chip in the end, but I think it's been scraped flat, so that's nothing major. There's no any major damage. In here you'll see that there is a main hole for the turret post, and then there's 3 smaller holes for grub screws. What their actual function is it just to maybe square the post up, or just make it a bit tighter, possibly. One thing you maybe have difficulty in seeing is, if you look I'll just try and hide this. Right, okay, that's going to be a wee bit difficult. I'll set it down maybe. If you look between this grub screw hole and this grub screw hole, there's what looks like to be a small indentation. Now what I believe that to be is a blank hole, or it was a blank hole, in which a matching pin from the edge of this post, which okay, I've got not enough fingers or hands here. You can see the back of the plate here. There's what looks like a small indentation. I believe that to be either another small grub screw or some pin that would be maybe tapped into place. I'm trying to get the lighting on it right for you. See if it works any better through the camera, through the magnifying glass. Right, hold on. Okay, there we go. You can just see it there. Now it's obviously snapped off, and the part that's snapped off is of course stuck in the top slide. So that needs to be extracted in some way, and maybe, you know, if you look at the post there now, well, it's maybe easier to see by the naked eye, but there is quite a bend to her, you know. It's very noticeable when you put a straight edge along the post. There's quite a significant bend in her. It's not really, you know, fundamental to the operation of the lathe. It's just for clamping the work, but I don't like it like that. I'd like to have it restored or replaced. But the source I found on the web for components like this was wanting nearly £20 just for that, which is just appalling as far as I'm concerned. And at the same time, when I get this lathe running, it's actually quite promising, because I can be churning out parts like this quite happily till the end of my days and making a few pound at it. So yeah, you know, we'll see what happens. So that there is the top slide. And obviously that would come up through the base of that there. Get in there. Well, you can see how bent it is. It's actually a bit difficult to get through there. And then you've got your the nut for the top, and of course the actual clamp. Now, I don't think this is actually even the standard clamp for it. I actually haven't looked online, or it could be an earlier version, because I don't believe many people would have gone to the bother of creating a rounded washer here. I'll try and get that into the. You can see the contour or the top of the washer is quite circular, and indeed that locates in the top of the clamp in a circular depression, which has a raised lip on the side of it, and then the nut tightens up on that, so you get a good firm solid grip on whatever tooling you have in the clamping area. So yeah, the battery on this camera is running out, so I'm unsure as to how long I have left to record, but I've probably spoken for 10 minutes already, and although I've got a better camera now, my internet connection is still foobar, as they say. So it does actually take an hour and a half just to upload 10 minutes of video, so I think that's enough for today.